The countdown to the end of the world had begun. There were only 2 days left. I stood by my window, looking out at the city's night view. The lights were bright, and the streets were packed with cars. Nobody knew that by this time tomorrow, all of this would be gone. I called out to my system for a status report. My physical fitness was 1.2 times that of an average person. I had 250 system coins and over 43 million yuan in cash. My subspace was 200 cubic meters and already packed with supplies. My skill, Inverse Luck Wealth, was still on a 6-hour cooldown. My shelter was 80% complete, and I had enough food to last 3 months. I nodded to myself. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough to survive. System, I thought. I'm having dinner with Chun Jiaming and Lu Ruyan tonight. Anything I should watch out for? The system gave me 3 points. First, don't let them know I know they betrayed me. Second, complete the mission by serving Chun Jiaming food 3 times. Third, use the appraisal function to check their attributes. I took a deep breath. Tonight was our first real confrontation. I couldn't show my hand yet, but I had to let them know I wasn't someone they could push around anymore. At 7 o'clock, I arrived at a roadside food stall. This was where Chun Jiaming and I used to hang out all the time back when we were still brothers. As soon as I walked in, I saw them. Chun Jiaming was decked out in designer clothes, smiling like a saint. Lu Ruyan wore a floral dress, looking soft and innocent with her long hair draped over her shoulders. I knew better. They were wolves in sheep's clothing. How good. Chun Jiaming stood up immediately, acting all warm and welcoming. You're finally here. Sit. He poured me a cup of tea, his face full of fake enthusiasm. It's been too long, brother. I've missed you. I looked at his hypocritical face and felt a cold sneer rising in my chest. Missed me? In my past life, this was exactly how he tricked me. When the apocalypse hit, he missed me so much he pushed me straight into a monster's mouth. Jiaming, I said with a faint smile. Long time no see. Ruyan is here too. How good. Lu Ruyan chirped in a sweet, cloying voice. I glanced at her. In my previous life, I was obsessed with that face. Now, it just made me want to gag. I gave a short nod and didn't say another word. The silence got awkward fast. Chun Jiaming tried to fix the mood. Come on, how good, let's eat. I ordered all the house specialties. The waiter brought out the dishes until the table was overflowing. Braised ribs, sweet and sour fish, kung pao chicken. It was a feast. Eat up, don't be shy, Chun Jiaming urged. I looked at the spread and let a small smile play on my lips. Jiaming, you're too good to me. Of course, he slapped his chest. We're brothers. We share the good times and the bad. I laughed internally. Asterisk share the good times? Is that what you call it? Asterisk. By the way, how good, Chun Jiaming said, seizing the moment. I heard you and your wife are having some issues. What's the big deal? Why the fighting? Lu Ruyan chimed in, acting pouty. How good, are you still mad at me? I know I asked to borrow money, but I was just joking. Joking? I put my teacup down and stared her in the eyes. Lu Ruyan, do you even know how much money you've borrowed from me? Her face turned pale. I. Think about it. In 3 years, how much have you taken? I never said a word, but you keep coming back for more. I never said I wouldn't pay you back, she stammered. I'm just a little short lately. Short? I let out a cold laugh. When you're short, do you ever think about me? I work overtime every night, living like a monk just so you can spend my money. You buy bags, makeup, and go to spas. And now you want me to sell my house? And because I won't, you say I've changed. Lu Ruyan was speechless. She had never seen me like this. Usually, I did whatever she said. She squeezed out a few tears. How good? Do you not love me anymore? Love you? I scoffed. Give me one reason why I should. What have you ever given me? She froze. In my past life, I gave her everything she wanted. She had never once considered what she should give in return. All right. Chun Jiaming cut in, trying to play the peacemaker. We're here to eat, not fight. I looked at my best friend. He acted like he was neutral, but he was clearly siding with her. This was his routine. He'd mediate, and I'd always end up being the one who lost out. Let's eat, Chun Jiaming said, picking up his chopsticks. How good, let me get you some. No need. I grabbed the serving chopsticks. I'll do it. I picked up a rib and ate it. Then I stood up. Here, Jiaming. I placed a rib in his bowl. You're my best brother. You've helped me so much over the years. I should be looking after you. Eat more. Chen Jiaming looked stunned, then moved. How good you. Don't be polite. I added a piece of fish to his bowl. You've taken such good care of me. I remember everything. His eyes actually turned red. How good I. Have some greens too. I added a third serving, some vegetables, to his bowl. You can't just eat meat. You need a balanced diet. Eat up, brother. Chen Jiaming was practically weeping with gratitude. How good, you're the best. Lu Ruyan watched us, her eyes flickering. She probably thought I was trying to win them back after our fight. How good, she wheedled, leaning in. I want some too. Can you serve me? I looked at her face and felt a wave of disgust. This was the same face she used to trick me out of my savings. The same face she wore when she sent me to my death. Fine, I said. I picked up a rib and dropped it in her bowl. You eat too, Ruyan. Thanks, how good, she said with a sugary smile. While I was serving them, I silently activated my appraisal function. Asterisk target, Lu Ruyan. Age, 25. Physical fitness, 0.8. Greed index, 98%. Scheming level, 95%. Betrayal tendency, 88%. Special note, multiple male partners, asterisk. My eyes turned cold. A 98% greed index. She really was a bottomless pit. How good. Lu Ruyan noticed me staring. Is something wrong? Nothing, I said, pulling my gaze away. I just realized you look especially beautiful today. Oh, stop it, she giggled. Why are you being so cheesy all of a sudden? I smiled and said nothing. Being beautiful didn't matter when your heart was pitch black. A notification popped up in my mind. System mission complete. Reward, appraisal function permanently unlocked. The system notification chimed in my head, and I felt a surge of genuine excitement. The appraisal function was now permanently unlocked. It was a massive win. Sure, the process had been a bit humiliating, serving food to the very people who had betrayed and murdered me, but the reward was worth every second of acting. How good? Chen Jiaming asked, snapping me out of my thoughts. You okay? You've been spacing out. It's nothing, I said, coming back to reality. I just remembered a few things. What things? He pressed. I didn't answer. I set my chopsticks down and took a slow sip of my tea. My expression went flat. Anyway, Jiaming, Ruyan. Yeah, they asked in unison. Whatever little scheme you two are cooking up, I said, lowering my voice to a dangerous whisper. I'm giving you one piece of advice. Don't try to stick your hands into my pockets. If you do, I didn't finish the sentence. I just smiled. Chen Jiaming and Lu Ruyan exchanged a quick, startled look. They were clearly shaken. The version of me sitting in front of them today was a complete stranger. How good? You're overthinking it, Chen Jiaming said with a forced, awkward laugh. What kind of scheme could we possibly have? Is that so? I gave him a long, meaningful look. Good. Let's keep it that way. I stood up abruptly. That's enough for today. I have things to do. I'm leaving. Wait. How good? Stay a bit longer. Jiaming pleaded. We haven't even caught up properly. I waved him off without looking back. Some other time. I walked away, leaving them frozen at the table. Once I was out of earshot, Lu Ruyan leaned in close to Jiaming. Jiaming, she whispered. Does he know something? Impossible, Jiaming muttered, shaking his head. There's no way he could know. But, don't worry, Jiaming interrupted, his eyes turning cold and vicious. No matter how much he's changed, he's still just one man. We have young Master Long helping us. What is there to be afraid of? So what's the plan? She asked. We'll talk tomorrow, Jiaming said, standing up. Let's go find young Master Long and figure this out. I walked out of the open-air food stall and looked up at the night sky. The stars were faint, flickering weakly against the darkness. 48 hours left. Tomorrow would be the final countdown to the end of the world, and my revenge was only just beginning. I headed back to my apartment in the Tianxin district to make my final preparations. I did a full sweep of my shelter's facilities. Everything had to be perfect. The solar panels were operational, providing a steady stream of basic electricity. The rainwater collection and filtration system was running smoothly. My stockpiles of food and water were massive, more than enough to last me a very long time. System, report current status, I commanded. A blue screen flickered in my mind. Asterisk host status, physical fitness 1.2x average human. System coins, 250. Cash, 43.2 million. Subspace, 200 cubic meters, fully stocked. Skill, wealth multiplier, cooldown, 12 hours. Shelter status, normal. Supplies, sufficient for 3 months, asterisk. I nodded. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough to survive the initial chaos. I checked the time. It was 9 p.m. In 27 hours, the world would end. Tomorrow, the electronic interference starts, I whispered to myself. I walked to the window and looked out at the city. The lights were bright, and the streets were packed with cars. People were laughing, working, and living their lives. None of them knew that in a little over a day, all of this would vanish. What a waste, I murmured. They have no idea what's coming. They're just stumbling through life, not realizing how precious these last moments are. What is the host feeling emotional about? The system asked. Nothing, I said, shaking my head. Just thinking about how people only realize the value of things once they've lost them. What things specifically? Everything. I sat back down on the sofa. System, do you think humanity is actually worth saving? This system does not answer philosophical questions. I rolled my eyes. This system really had zero personality. I turned back to the window. The apocalypse was coming, but this time, I was ready. Bring it on, I whispered. Meanwhile, across the city, Chun Jiaming and Lu Ruyan were huddled in a dark corner with young Master Long. Long Xiao, that kid is getting too arrogant, Chun Jiaming hissed. He actually had the nerve to threaten us at dinner. He's right, Lu Ruyan added, fueling the fire. He doesn't respect you at all. You have to teach him a lesson. Long Xiao's face was twisted in rage. He hadn't said a word, but the humiliation of being forced to kneel and call me grandpa had made him the laughingstock of his social circle. He couldn't go anywhere without people pointing and whispering. What do you want to do? Long Xiao growled. I have a plan, Jiaming said with a predatory grin. Tomorrow, we corner him at his place. And then we make him hand over every cent he has. And if he refuses? Chun Jiaming made a sharp slicing motion across his throat. The three of them shared a dark, murderous laugh. Fine, Long Xiao agreed. Tomorrow morning, we go to his apartment. I'll make sure he learns what happens when you cross Long Outyin. I stood by my window, unaware of their specific plot, but knowing their nature all too well. System, I whispered. If I die tomorrow, what happens to you? I will search for a new host. Wow, you couldn't even try to comfort me. Apologies. This system is not equipped with a comfort function. I sighed. Forget it. You wouldn't understand anyway. I headed toward the bedroom. Tomorrow was the end. I needed to rest and gather my strength. I took one last look at the city lights before closing the door. Tomorrow, the real war would begin. The next morning, with only 18 hours left until the apocalypse, I was jolted awake by a loud, aggressive pounding on my door. Asterisk bang. 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 Asterisk. Zheng Hao? Open up. It was Lu Ruyan's voice. I frowned and walked to the door. I didn't open it. Instead, I looked through the peephole. All three of them were there. Lu Ruyan, Chun Jiaming, and Long Xiao. They looked like they were hunting for blood. System, I thought. Can you monitor their conversation? A virtual panel appeared in front of me, displaying their words in real time. Long Xiao, once we're inside, you handle the threats, Jiaming whispered. I'll play the concerned friend and try to talk him down. Ruyan, you start crying. Don't worry, Ruyan sneered. I can turn on the tears faster than anyone. Good, Long Xiao nodded. Let's go. Zheng Hao, open the damn door. I watched them through the peephole, a cold smile spreading across my face. They really couldn't wait, could they? I pulled the door open. Well, if it isn't Ruyan and Jiaming, I said, faking a yawn. And Long Xiao too. What brings you all here so early? Lu Ruyan immediately put on a heartbroken face. How go? Why did you hang up on me again? Do you not love me anymore? I leaned against the doorframe, unimpressed. Why should I love you? Do you love me? Of course I love you. Then what have you ever given me? Ruyan froze. She had clearly never considered that question. In my past life, she had taken everything from me and offered nothing in return. She stammered, unable to find an answer. All right, enough of this. Chun Jiaming stepped forward. How go? Ruyan has been so good to you. How can you talk to her like that? Good to me. I let out a sharp laugh. How exactly? She goes shopping with you. She eats dinner with you. You mean I pay for her shopping and I pay for her meals? That's her being good to me. Jiaming went quiet, his face turning red. Cut the crap, Long Xiao growled, stepping into my personal space. I'm not here for a chat. I'm here for my money. I tilted my head. Money? For what? For humiliating me the other day. Long Xiao snarled, his teeth clenched. You made me kneel. You made me call you Grandpa. You owe me for that. And I'm here to collect, with interest. I chuckled. Long Xiao, are you sure you want to settle this debt right now? What? Are you scared? He sneered, his eyes narrow and cold. I shook my head slowly. Not scared. I just find it hilarious. You lost the bet. You knelt down and called me Grandpa because you agreed to the stakes. Now that you've lost, you're backing out and demanding money? Is this how the great Long family handles their business? Long Xiao's face turned a bruised shade of purple. Zheng Hao, don't get cocky. You haven't seen what I'm capable of. I'm giving you one last chance. Hand over this house and all your money, and I might let you live. Otherwise what? I cut him off, staring him straight in the eyes. You'll kill me? Do you even have the guts? My intensity caught him off guard. He actually took a step back, shocked that someone like me would dare to speak to him that way. Long Xiao, stop wasting breath on him. Chun Jiaming barked from the side, trying to fuel the fire. Just do it. Teach him a lesson. Lu Rian chimed in too, her voice shrill. Zheng Hao, if you don't give him the money, I'm breaking up with you right now. I looked at her and felt a wave of relief. Breaking up? That sounds perfect. It's exactly what I want. Rian's face went green with rage. In the past, the mere mention of a breakup would have me on my knees, begging for her to stay. She couldn't handle the fact that her leash was gone. Zheng Hao, she screamed. You're a jerk. I'm the jerk. I laughed coldly. Rian, take a good look in the mirror. I treated you well because I loved you, but you treated me like a human ATM. Now that I've woken up and stopped paying your bills, I'm the one who changed? You're damn right I changed. She stood there, speechless. Her usual tricks weren't working. She tried one last move, squeezing out a few fake tears. Zheng Hao, is there someone else? Is that why you don't want me? No, I said flatly. I don't want you because you're not worth it. She froze. To a woman as vain as her, being told she wasn't worth it was the ultimate insult. You've gone too far. Whatever, I said, waving my hand dismissively. If I'm so terrible, then leave. All three of you, get out and don't come back. I moved to slam the door, but Long Xiao shoved his hand against the frame, blocking it. You think this is over? He hissed, a wicked smile spreading across his face. I'm going to show you exactly what happens when you cross me. He whistled, and 4 men in black suits stepped out from around the corner of the hallway. Beat him, he ordered. The thugs charged. I didn't flinch. This was exactly what I had been waiting for. System, I called out in my mind. Host, are you ready? The mechanical voice responded. Standing by. I cracked my neck and felt a surge of energy. My physical stats were only 20% higher than an average person's, but with the system's combat protocols, these punks were nothing. Come on then, I whispered. Let's see what the Long family is made of. The first thug swung a heavy fist at my face. I slipped the punch, grabbed his wrist, and yanked him forward with his own momentum. There was a sickening pop as his shoulder dislocated, and he hit the floor wailing. 1. The second guy tried a roundhouse kick. I blocked with both forearms and drove my heel into his standing knee. Crack, he collapsed instantly. 2. The remaining 2 saw their buddies go down and hesitated, circling me from both sides. I stepped back, watching their patterns. My enhanced perception made their movements look like they were underwater. The one on the left is going first, I thought. Sure enough, he lunged. I pivoted, caught his fist midair, and twisted. Another crack echoed through the hall as his wrist snapped. 3. The last man looked at his 3 broken friends and turned to run. Where do you think you're going? I lunged forward, grabbed him by the collar, and slammed him into the wall before dropping him to the floor. 4. The whole fight took less than 3 minutes. The hallway fell dead silent. Long Xiao's eyes were wide, his jaw hanging open. Chun Jiaming and Lu Ruyan looked like they had seen a ghost. The loser, who couldn't even win a playground fight, had just dismantled 4 professional bodyguards. You, Long Xiao stammered, pointing a shaking finger at me. I brushed the dust off my sleeves. Long Xiao, I suggest you take your trash and leave. Impossible, he screamed, refusing to accept reality. You've been hiding this. You're a trained fighter. I shrugged. Think whatever you want. But remember this, you came here to jump me today. I'll keep that in mind. Next time we meet, I won't be so gentle. Long Xiao flinched. For a second, he didn't see a regular guy standing there. He saw a predator. You just wait, he yelled, his voice cracking with fear. The Long family won't let this go. The Long family? I sneered. Are they really that impressive? You couldn't even handle me alone. How do you expect to fight me with a whole family of cowards? His face turned beet red, but he had no comeback. He knew he was outmatched. Let's go, he barked at his groaning henchmen. They scrambled to their feet and limped away, humiliated. Chun Jiaming and Lu Ruyin remained, rooted to the spot. What are you two still doing here? I asked, turning my gaze toward them. Do you want me to escort you out like I did them? Jiaming's face went pale. How good? You've got it all wrong. This was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? I cut him off. I know exactly what you were doing, Jiaming. You wanted Long Xiao to do your dirty work so you could swoop in and take the spoils. Dream on. He opened his mouth to lie, but I didn't give him the chance. Get out, I said, my voice cold as ice. And don't ever call me your brother again. We're done. He shivered under my gaze, grabbed Ruyin's arm, and practically dragged her toward the stairs. Ruyin looked back at me one last time, her expression a mix of confusion and bitterness. She couldn't understand how the man who used to worship the ground she walked on could suddenly treat her like dirt. She didn't blame herself for her greed. She only blamed me for changing. You'll regret this, Zheng Hao, she hissed under her breath as they disappeared. You'll regret treating me like this. I just smiled and shut the door. The only thing I regretted was not doing it sooner. Lu Ruyin and Chun Jiaming were probably cursing my name the moment they stepped outside, but I didn't care. I had bigger things to worry about. I pulled up my system panel. A notification pinged in my mind. Host has completed combat. Rewards, system points plus 30, combat experience plus 50. Passive skill unlocked. Physical fitness, basic. Effect, reduces damage taken by 10%. I felt a slight grin tug at the corner of my mouth. It wasn't a massive power-up, but in the world that was coming, every little bit helped. System, I muttered. Are there any more tasks for today? New task detected, the voice chimed. Socialize with a neighbor. Requirement, greet a neighbor and say, hello, I am the new resident of Building 6. Please look after me. Reward, shelter blueprint, advanced defense works. Penalty, none. I stared at the screen, stunned. This was a task? It sounded like normal human interaction. Is this a joke? This is too easy, I said. To the host, socializing is a weakness, the system replied bluntly. According to my analysis, your social skills are 0. You blush when you see people and stutter when you speak. Forcing you to talk to a stranger is more painful than getting beaten up. I opened my mouth to argue, but the words died in my throat. The system had a point. I sighed, defeated. Fine, I'll try it. Task accepted. Countdown, 12 hours. The apocalypse was coming. Soon, I wouldn't be dealing with rude neighbors. I'd be facing mutated monsters. I looked at my phone. Qian Duo had sent a message. Mr. Zhang, the last batch of supplies has been purchased. They'll be delivered shortly. Good job. Thank you, I replied. It's no trouble at all. It's an honor to work for you, she messaged back instantly. She was a hard worker. I had to give her that. I took a moment to fix my hair and looked in the mirror. It had only been a few days since I was reborn, but it felt like a lifetime. In my past life, Jiaming and Ruyin betrayed me. On the 3rd day of the end times, they literally threw me to the monsters. This time, I wasn't just going to survive, I was going to thrive. I took a deep breath and opened my door. As luck would have it, a middle-aged woman was walking down the hallway. I'd seen her a few times before. Hello, Auntie, I said, my voice feeling stiff. I'm the new resident of Building 6. Please look after me. The woman stopped and squinted at me, scanning me from head to toe. Who are you? New resident? You don't look like a good person to me. My social anxiety flared up immediately. My face felt hot. Auntie, I really live here. I'm just upstairs from you. Upstairs. She narrowed her eyes. I've never seen you. I I just moved in, I stammered. Her gaze turned suspicious. You're not a scammer, are you? There are so many these days, always trying to trick us old folks. I'm really not a scammer, I protested. Then show me your ID, she demanded. I was speechless. I just wanted to say hello, and now I was being interrogated. Social failure detected, the system mocked. Host lacks experience. Suggestion, practice more. Would you like to enroll in our social anxiety treatment course? Shut up, I snapped internally. My blood pressure was rising. Auntie, look, I said, pulling out my phone. I showed her my lease agreement and the rent receipts. She leaned in, squinting at the screen, before finally relaxing. Oh, so you really are new. Sorry about that, young man. You can't be too careful these days. I let out a long breath. It's fine. So what's your name? She asked. Zheng Hao. Good name, she nodded. I'm Annie Wong. You can call me if you need anything. Do you live alone? Not married. Any girlfriend? I had one. I muttered, trying to end the conversation. She gave me a knowing, pitying smile. I understand. Don't worry, you're young. Plenty of chances. I know a lot of people. I can introduce you to some nice girls. I froze. How did a simple greeting turn into a matchmaking session? Social success, the system chimed. Rating, barely passing. Result is positive. Reward granted. Thank you, Andy Wong, I said, backing away toward my door. I have to go now? Busy with work. Sure. Drop by for tea sometime, she shouted as I ducked back inside and slammed the door. Socializing was exhausting. I collapsed onto my sofa, heart racing. But then, the notification popped up. Shelter Blueprint. Advanced Defense Works unlocked. My eyes lit up. I opened the panel to check the details. It allowed for reinforced walls, blast-proof windows, surveillance systems, and even camouflage layers. It was exactly what I needed to turn my apartment into a fortress. System, do I have enough time to get the materials? You have 10 hours, the system replied. If you hurry, you can complete the basic upgrades. I didn't waste a second. I called Qian Duoduo. Mr. Zheng, her voice chirped. The supplies arrived at Building 6? I asked. Yes, everything is there. Good. I need one more thing. Buy as much metal plating, cement, glass, and security mesh as you can find. I need it delivered today, as much as possible. She paused, sounding confused. Are you renovating? Something like that, I said. No problem. I know some suppliers. I'll get you a good price. After hanging up, I called the building management office. Hello? This is the resident on the top floor of Building 6. I need to reinforce my security doors and windows immediately. Can you send someone up to take a look? No problem at all, Mr. Zheng, the management office replied. We'll send someone up right away. The doorbell rang almost immediately. I walked over and opened it to find a familiar, elegant figure standing there. It was Qian Duoduo. She was dressed in a simple tracksuit, and a team of movers stood behind her. Mr. Zheng, she said with a bright smile. Here are the construction materials you asked for. Everything is right here. I felt a rush of relief and thanked her profusely. My opinion of her climbed another few notches. She was efficient and reliable. Once I saw her and the movers out, I stood alone in my living room, staring at the massive pile of supplies. It was time to get to work. I had to prepare for the nightmare I knew was coming. April 19th, 11 p.m. I sat on my sofa, eyes glued to the clock on the wall. 1 hour left. I opened my system panel to check my status. The countdown read 59 minutes and 32 seconds. My physical fitness was at 1.2 times that of a normal human. My system was level 3, and I had 156 system coins and over 32 million in cash. My 200 cubic meter storage space was packed to the brim. The shelter was 90% reinforced. I took a deep breath. I had done everything I could. Now it was up to fate. Host's nervousness detected. The system chimed. Please stay calm. This system is fully prepared. There is no need for concern. I'm not worried, I muttered. Then why are your hands shaking? I looked down. My fingers were trembling. Fine. I admit it. I'm a little tense. Understandable, the system replied. After all, you only get to experience the end of the world once in a lifetime. You have a very strange way of comforting people, I sighed. System, what should I do once it starts? First, stay calm. Second, follow system tasks to earn rewards. Third, Trust no one. Fourth, survive. I nodded. Simple, blunt, but effective. April 20th, midnight. The world shook. A massive, global earthquake hit with a roar that sounded like the earth was tearing apart. My entire building swayed violently. Windows rattled in their frames, the chandeliers swung wildly, and furniture slid across the floor. I gripped the edge of my table, knuckles white, waiting for the chaos to end. Magnitude 8.5 detected, the system warned. Duration, 30 seconds. Warning, electronic devices will soon overload and fail. I counted the seconds. 20, 19, 18. A loud crack echoed from outside. The streetlights flickered and died. A second later, my entire building went pitch black. The neighborhood vanished into the shadows. 10, 9, 8. Finally, the shaking stopped. I let out a long, shaky breath. The apocalypse has officially arrived, the system announced. Congratulations, host. I am now in full operational mode. Please try not to die too quickly. I haven't had my fun yet. I stared at the notification. Are you worrying about me or insulting me? Both. I decided not to argue with the sarcastic AI. I walked to the window. The city was gone. No lights, no traffic, just a heavy, suffocating silence. The once vibrant skyline was now a graveyard of dark monoliths. It's really here, I whispered. I closed my eyes, remembering the first time this happened. Back then, I was clueless. I had spent the first hours of the apocalypse panicking, calling Lu Ruyan to make sure she was okay. She had cried on the phone, begging me to come over because she was scared. I had rushed out into the danger like a fool. I opened my eyes and shook the memory away. Not this time. This time, I was going to live. I turned back to my room. My shelter had held up perfectly. The backup power had already kicked in, bathing the room in soft light. The water recycling and air purification systems were humming along quietly. Phase 1, the omen, is over, the system stated. Phase 2, the heat wave, is about to begin. Predicted temperature increase, 20 degrees to over 50 degrees Celsius within 24 hours. 50 degrees? That was over 120 degrees Fahrenheit. People would bake alive. System, how do I deal with that? The system store offers ice attribute cores for 500 coins, AC modification kits for 200, and heat-resistant suits for 100. I looked at my balance. 156 coins. I can't afford any of that. Then work harder on your tasks. I believe in you. Fighting. I sighed. It looked like I'd be heading out tomorrow. Across the city, Lu Ruyan's screams pierced the night. After the earthquake, she scrambled for her phone, but there was no signal. No Wi-Fi. No lights. She looked out her window at the blackened city and spiraled into a panic. She had never seen anything like this. I'm so scared, she whimpered, huddling on the floor. She thought of me. Zheng Hao. He won't let me suffer. I have to find him. She grabbed her phone to use as a flashlight and opened her door, but the darkness of the hallway pushed her back. She locked herself inside, trembling, waiting for dawn. Chen Jiming wasn't doing any better. His old apartment had cracked during the quake. He sat in the corner, staring at his dead phone. Then, he remembered the massive amount of supplies I had bought. Zheng Hao must have everything, he muttered, eyes gleaming with desperation. He's safe. I need to get there. He stumbled out into the dark streets, cursing as he realized how dangerous it was. He eventually retreated, but his mind was set. Just wait, Zheng Hao. When the sun comes up, I'm coming for my share, whether you give it to me or not. I didn't know what Lu Ruyan and Chen Jiming were up to. I didn't care. I lay on my sofa, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of the silence. The apocalypse had officially arrived. From this moment on, I was facing a brand new world. A world where danger lurked in every shadow. Ding. Detected that the host has many thoughts. System suggestion, please rest early. There is much to do tomorrow. System tasks will be released at 8 a.m. sharp. Please be prepared. Please be prepared. Please be prepared. I get it, I muttered. I closed my eyes. Tomorrow was a new beginning. In this life, I wouldn't be a loser. I was going to survive, and I was going to do it with style. The next morning, a wave of heat jolted me awake. I opened my eyes and immediately felt the temperature in the room had spiked. I sat up, wiping sweat from my forehead. System, what's the temperature now? Ding. Current outdoor temperature, 38 degrees Celsius. Current indoor temperature, 32 degrees Celsius. Shelter insulation is in effect. Estimated peak temperature today, 52 degrees Celsius. The heat wave period has officially begun. I frowned. 38 degrees? It was still early morning. If it was already this hot now, noon would be a furnace. I walked to the window and looked down. The streets were a mess. People were everywhere, frantic and desperate for water. I saw men pounding on their neighbors' doors, begging for a drink. Lines at the small supermarkets turned into riots as people fought over the last scraps of supplies. Move. I saw this water first, a man screamed. Screw you. Just because you saw it doesn't mean it's yours, another yelled back. Say that again, I dare you. I said it. You're a broke loser. I watched it all with a cold heart. In my past life, I was one of them. I remembered the feeling of almost dying from thirst just to find a single sip. Now, I had plenty of water and a safe fortress. I didn't need to struggle. I just had to watch the show. Ding. New task detected. System task. Stand on the balcony and shout, keep going. You can do it, 3 times to the crowd below. Reward. Unlock system enhancement function level 2. Can upgrade weapons and armor. Penalty, none. I blinked. System, you want me to cheer for people who are about to die? Yes. This system believes that spiritual support is very important. I was speechless. This wasn't support, it was psychological warfare. Are you sure you aren't just mocking me? The system is certain. The host is doing a good deed by encouraging those in despair. This is a task of great merit. I took a deep breath. Fine. There was no penalty, and I might as well have some fun with it. I stepped onto the balcony, looked down at the sweating, fighting crowd, and filled my lungs. Keep going. You can do it. I yelled. The crowd froze. Dozens of heads snapped up, staring at me in confusion. What is that guy shouting? Someone yelled. Keep going? Is he crazy? He's definitely lost it. Who shouts that at a time like this? I ignored them and shouted again. Keep going. You can do it. Ding. Task completed. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the reward. System Enhancement Function Level 2. The host can now enhance weapons and armor to improve their attributes. I breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, it was over. I turned back into the room and shut the balcony door, leaving the confused shouting behind me. Is that guy sick in the head? I heard someone yell from below. Forget him, find water. I opened my system panel to check the new feature. It allowed me to turn ordinary items into system equipment. Each enhancement cost system coins based on the item's level and would randomly boost attributes by 10 to 50%. My eyes lit up. This was a game changer. I looked at my system machete. System, how much to enhance this blade? Ding. System machete detected. Current grade, common. Enhancement cost, 50 coins. Enhance. Do it. Ding. Enhancement successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining System Machete +1. Sharpness increased by 30%. Durability increased by 20%. I nodded, satisfied. It wasn't a massive jump, but it was better than nothing. Again. Ding. Detected insufficient system coins. Current balance, 106. Enhancement cost, 50. Remaining balance, 56. I sighed. I'd have to wait until I earned more. Just then, the doorbell rang. Ding dong. I frowned. Who would be knocking at a time like this? I walked to the door and looked through the peephole. A familiar figure stood there. It was Lu Ruyan. Zheng Hao? Open the door, she screamed. I know you're in there. I didn't say a word. Zheng Hao, please. Her voice broke into a sob. Everything is so strange outside. I'm so scared. Please let me in. I watched her performance through the lens, a cold smile tugging at my lips. Scared? She wasn't scared when she teamed up with Chun Jiaming to betray me. Zheng Hao, she kept yelling. Why aren't you talking? I know you're there. Open up. I took a breath and swung the door open. Her face lit up with instant hope. Zheng Hao, you finally. Get lost. The word cut her off like a knife. She froze. What? I said, get lost. I repeated, my eyes cold. Do you not understand human speech? Her eyes welled with tears. How can you be so heartless? It's chaos out there. I'm terrified. You weren't like this before. Before? I let out a sharp laugh. Lu Ruyan, you have the nerve to mention before? On what grounds? She stammered, unable to find an answer. I. I'm telling you for the last time. My voice was ice. Get out. Don't ever come looking for me again. Zheng Hao, she shrieked. How can you treat me like this? I'm your girlfriend. Ex-girlfriend? I corrected her. We broke up a long time ago. She collapsed into a crying fit. You've changed. You're so cruel now. You're a scumbag. A total scumbag. No, I said flatly. You're the trash here. I didn't wait for her response. I slammed the door in her face. I could hear her muffled crying through the wood, but it eventually faded. On the other side of the door, Lu Rian's face twisted from sadness to pure malice. She glared at the door, teeth clenched. Zheng Hao, she hissed. You just wait. You'll regret treating me like this. I'll make you pay. She turned and left, her heart full of hate. She didn't think she had done anything wrong. She only blamed me for changing. Regret. I muttered to myself back in the living room. You're the one who's going to regret everything. I went back to the system panel. I had work to do. But then, the doorbell rang again. Ding dong. I groaned and went back to the door. This time, it was Chen Jiaming. He forced a wide, fake smile the moment he saw me. How? Buddy, I finally found you. What do you want? How? Look at the situation, he said, rubbing his hands together nervously. It's a mess out there. I don't have anything to eat or drink. I was hoping to borrow some supplies. Borrow? I scoffed. Chen Jiaming, how many times have you borrowed from me? When did you ever pay me back? This time is different. He laughed awkwardly. How? Think about our brotherhood. We're brothers. Brothers? I cut him off. You still have the guts to call us brothers? His face paled, the fake smile finally twitching. You misunderstood, Chen Jiaming stammered, his face twitching. It's a misunderstanding. I let out a cold laugh. I know exactly what kind of person you are, Chen Jiaming. I know you better than you know yourself. I waved him off, my patience gone. Stop the nonsense. You want to borrow supplies? Fine. His eyes lit up instantly. Really? But, I said, my voice dropping an octave. You have to give me something in exchange. He froze. Exchange? For what? For your life? I said flatly. Chen Jiaming jumped back, his eyes wide with terror. What? What did you say? I sneered at his pathetic expression. It was a joke. Your trash life isn't worth anything to me. Now get lost. I'm not lending you a single thing. Zheng Hao, he shouted, desperation taking over. How can you be like this? We're brothers. He tried to push his way back into the conversation, but I didn't give him the chance. Get out, I barked. Don't make me say it twice. I slammed the door shut. Outside, silence reigned for a long moment before I heard him grinding his teeth. Zheng Hao, he hissed through the wood. You just wait. You'll regret treating me like this. He stomped away, his heart festering with the same hatred Lu Ruyan had shown minutes ago. I leaned against the door and chuckled. They were exactly the same logic, same entitlement. I headed back to the living room to check the system. Downstairs, the world was already falling apart. The fight for resources had turned into a bloodbath. A massive crowd had gathered at the supermarket entrance, and the tension was snapping. You're cutting the line, you bastard, someone screamed. So what? Make me move. Fists started flying. The crowd didn't try to stop the fight. They watched like vultures. Some used the chaos to slip into the store and steal whatever they could grab. Thief. Catch him. I stood on my balcony, looking down at the madness like a god watching ants. I had no intention of helping. Ding. A system notification popped up. Detected host observing a public brawl. Not intervening is the correct choice. Self-preservation is the most important rule in the apocalypse. I nodded. The system had its head on straight. System, I said, are there any tasks? Ding. Host initiative detected. Available task. Go downstairs and shout, I am a handsome guy 3 times. I stared at the screen. Reward. 30 system coins and 1 point of charisma. The silence in my room was heavy. System, are you mocking me? The system is serious. The host's skin needs to be thickened. This task will effectively boost your confidence. I felt my eye twitch. It was humiliating, but I needed those coins. Fine, I'll do it. I walked out of the building and onto the sweltering street. I took a deep breath, ignored the brawling neighbors, and yelled at the top of my lungs. I am a handsome guy. I am a handsome guy. I am a handsome guy. The fighting stopped. Everyone turned to stare at me. Then, the insults started flying. Where did this idiot come from? It's 50 degrees out, and this moron is shouting about his face. Look at him. Handsome? He should look in a mirror before he opens his mouth. My face burned. I wanted to crawl into a hole and die. Ding. Task complete. Reward issued. 30 system coins, 1 charisma. I didn't wait around. I turned and sprinted back to my apartment, my heart hammering against my ribs. Once inside, I went straight to work. I used the coins to upgrade my machete. Ding. Enhancement successful. Machete +2. Sharpness increased by 50%. Durability increased by 30%. Special attribute. Cutting speed increased by 50%. I tested the edge. It was terrifyingly sharp. I hadn't faced any monsters yet, but I knew the day was coming. Anything else? I asked. Ding. New task. Tomorrow at 8 a.m. Shout the apocalypse is here. I want to live 3 times from the street. Reward. Skill. Basic night vision. My jaw dropped. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Is social suicide part of the plan? The system does not understand the host's concern. This is a high-spirited declaration that fits your survivalist persona. I felt my blood pressure rising, but a night vision skill was too valuable to pass up. I sighed and accepted. If the world was ending, who cared if people thought I was crazy? By the afternoon of April 20th, the temperature hit 48 degrees Celsius. I stood by the window, feeling the heat radiating off the glass. Outside, people would collapse from heatstroke in minutes. Inside my shelter, it was a cool 28 degrees. System, give me a status report. Outdoor temperature, 48 degrees Celsius. Power grid, 0% functional. Water supply, failing in most districts. Internet, completely down. Public order, total collapse. Death toll, 127 people in this area, mostly from heat and trampling. I went cold. 127 people on day 1. In my past life, that number hit 1,000 by day 3. By the end of the month, it would be hundreds of thousands. Suddenly, a strange, high-pitched screech echoed from the street. I rushed to the balcony and looked down. A pack of stray dogs and cats were gathered in the shadows, but they weren't acting normal. Their eyes were glowing a dull, sickly red. Foam dripped from their mouths. They began tearing into each other with a ferocity that wasn't natural. My stomach churned. I recognized those symptoms. The mutation was starting. It's early, I whispered. The monsters are coming ahead of schedule. Ding. Warning. Mutation precursors detected. Mutants will appear shortly. Suggest host prepares for combat. I gripped my machete. The grace period was over.